Good morning, all.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I hope all of you had a nice rest yesterday and you are ready for the sessions today. Professor Amar Nayak, who was the guest of honor yesterday for the inaugural ceremony, will be taking the session. I hope he will be joining in a moment. Dear participants, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Is the volume on?
Yes, sir.
And is it?
I will just allow you for permission to give presentation.
Just see if the. I think there is a problem. Just hold on.
Why is it quiet? Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Dear participants, Professor Amar Nayak sir has already joined. He is going to take a session on strategizing, and I am sure you are going to benefit a lot from his years on experience. He is presently the NABARD professor, NABARD chair professor in XIMB Bhubaneswar, and he has got more than 35 years of experience in teaching and research and consulting. So he is one of the he is the senior most resource person for this FTP. I can proudly say that. So kindly mute yourself, all of you. Professor Nayak has already joined. There is some technical problem. He's trying to sort it out. Just bear with us for a moment.
Can you hear me? Dr. Mishra?
Yeah, you're pretty clear, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, your voice is quite loud and clear.
All right.
I've already allowed you for presentation. You can share your PPT directly.
Just trying to get the video.
You were there in the video a few minutes back. We lost connection. Yeah, you're now there. Now you're there.
Yeah. So, great. There is a point here. I'm not sure what to do.
We are recording it here from our side, sir. As the host, I'm recording the.
No, what I'm saying is from my end.
Okay.
So let me just.
Instruments are on at stand.
Bhimati. Amar. Yeah, Bhimati. Can you Despal to come. There is no echoing at your end.
A little bit of echoing I can hear, but your voice is clear as it is.
All right. So let me go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Help will come. But anyway, it's a wonderful opportunity for being here. And I welcome all of you to this session. So I'd like to hear from you on what's your understanding of strategizing. We'll have a small structure for the discussion today. The first 15 minutes or so, let's have an open discussion. And the second part will set the context of the discussion. And the third part, I'll explain what is strategizing so that you can apply that concept into your context. And then the last 15 minutes, we will kind of have again an open discussion on relating to your questions or any other matter that you may have, particularly with reference to how do you apply this and how do you take this forward. Is that audible, Dr. Mishra? Dr. Mishra, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. I am able to hear you.
Yes. So my friend, okay?
Yeah. Only thing is that if I unmute myself, then your mic is echoing. So I am muting myself.
Okay. All right. So let's give PPT share.
Yeah.
But my first set of issue is about what do we understand from different fields, different schools, different colleges with different experiences. What is your understanding of strategy or strategizing? I hope they can unmute and speak, or is there a chat box to use the chat box to give your comment?
There is a chat box, sir. On the right hand side of your screen. There is a chat box.
So why not?
You can see the participants as well as the chat box is there.
So why don't you your thoughts on the chat box?
Yeah, they can unmute themselves also and they can speak.
Yeah.
Sir, what from strategizing planning?
What is your understanding of strategy or strategizing?
Planning.
Just note down. You give your in the chat box. So I'll read it up and kind of synthesize. Yes, there are some ideas that are coming in already. Sunita says it's plan of action. It's planning. Sujata. Then plan to achieve set goals. Planning to achieve mission and vision. Mahendra says so. Vikas has already planned to achieve set goals. Let's hear from all of you. You can speak up, you can write it. Maybe first round you write it, and then we'll.
कैसे लिंक आगे हम भर के अप्रूव किए जरा फिर से देखें कुछ गड़बड़ है
You can't display shared content. Why is it not sharing?
देख के बता रहे हैं एक मिनट खुल गया आपसे नहीं बोला cbsedigital.edu.in.
Yeah, I've gone to share content and the screen, and I'm trying to share that, but it's not coming in. Otherwise, Dr. Mishra, I'll send
there is a sharing option in the bottom, sir.
Yes,
you can click on that, and then there will be two options. One is screen and application. You have to go to application.
Okay.
And then when you go to application, there are you have to open your PPT.
Yes.
You have to go to the window option, and there are three options in that: entire screen, window, and Chrome tab. So window, you can click on the PPT and it will be visible.
Okay, there are three options.
Yeah, window. You have to open your PPT first.
It's on the desktop. It's open.
Yes, you have to make it large screen, and then this window option. If you click on the window option, the PPT will be visible to all.
It's still taking time to connect. Please, I hope that to get organized. Let me see a few more answers. Dr. Mishra, you can mute. So Namrata says plan and vision. Then we have a set a goal and reach it. We have initiative to do some project. It's a plan keeping in mind the time frame. It's a proper planning to achieve a goal. Planning and methods, process of setting goals and objectives, plan and organize things to fulfill a task, and planning of doing something. Very interesting. You know, these are, you are almost there. You don't need to study this, have this session. Planning is one which is coming out very strongly in your thought, planning, and goal is the second thing that is coming very strongly. Plan and goals are coming out very strongly in whatever you are saying. And there is also the other verbs that you're saying: organizing, doing something, reaching it, time. Time frame is an issue that you have already said. And of course, Aram Gam says we did some of these in our B.Ed. Yeah, so planning, doing something. So these are the common terms that you're getting. I wish I could show you the PPT, but doesn't matter. Should I send it to you? Maybe Dr. Mishra, I'll send you this PPT. And if you can,
you can do that, sir. You send it to me. I will share it from my end. I am here. I am sitting here.
Yeah. Okay.
You send it in my mailbox. I will immediately share it.
Sir is not audible, Meenakshi sir.
Yeah, I'm seeing. I'm able to see.
Okay.
Yeah, I've Dr. Mishra, I've sent it to you. You can project it as soon as you can.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for your mail. Once it comes, I will share it with you.
Yeah. So I'll stop. This from here.
Yeah, I think I've received it.
Yeah.
Received it.
So meanwhile, we have Dr. Mishra, you can unmute.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, we have very interesting ideas about what strategy or strategizing mean. And this is an important starting point for us to move forward. Any more thoughts? We have a good number of participants. Any more ideas you want to share? In your context, you think whatever you have studied in strategy is that applicable to your context, or there is some way you can see it differently? Are some of the points that you can kind of reflect on. The second question, okay, we have got some idea about what is strategy or strategizing. Now the second part of it is, why do you think, are you happy with the kind of work that you're doing, the kind of profession that you're in? And if yes, the question is, why do you like your job? I'm addressing to you with this assumption that most of you are in the field of education. Yes, Koeli, thank you for that first answer. Yes, you are enjoying this. But let's find out why I enjoy my work. What is the reason? Lovely to see. It's yes for many yes. I like my job of teaching mathematics to students.
And I'm a primary teacher.
Yes.
And for me, my profession is more like a stress buster.
Yes.
I don't know, after 22 years of teaching, I find that yes, I am a teacher. Because whatever I do related to education, that gives me happiness. That's a very personal choice.
That's lovely. In fact, most teachers have this pleasant life. Most teachers. Thank you for sharing that. Some more of you. Why? The second question for us is, of course, we are happy. And the next question is, why is that so? Or in other words, the subsequent question would be, what is that? Why teaching is considered as a noble profession? Teaching is a learning process as well. because I learn many things, enjoying my passion for teaching, enjoying the childhood forever. Wonderful. Yes, please write. We have enough time. The idea of strategizing is very simple. We'll deal with that in a few minutes. It like professions as well as students. It defines life. Wonderful essence there. Seetal says, yes, I'm a lecturer at college and enjoy my work because this keeps me a learner. This keeps me as a learner. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, let's move forward. Let's move forward. So since we have got this slide, let's just regroup or come back to some basic idea of strategy, and we'll continue to work on this. Or you take some time to write. Some of you are already writing. As teachers, we mold the nation. Wonderful. Please move it back. The slides. Please move it back or move it forward. Move it forward. Move it forward. 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 Yeah, go back, go back. Yeah, we'll keep it here. Why do you feel happy to be a teacher? That is my first, and many of you have been writing there. Why has teaching been considered a noble profession? And the third is, what has been the purpose of your school or educational institute? That's second part. First is at an individual level, and second is at an organization or school or college level. As educators, we mold the future citizens. Wonderful. As teachers, we mold the nation. Teaching makes us capable to take corrective actions. We share knowledge which is more precious. Wonderful. Suha mentioned that. And teachers influence the thoughts of new generation. My goodness, it's such a wonderful field to be in. I can make a difference to the life of students. Can you make the PPT full screen? Dr. Mishra, if you're around, one of the participants, and rightly so, if you can, no, full screen, go back. Go back and make it full screen. Make it full screen. I can make a difference to the life of students. As a teacher, we are like a role model to them with whom they learn and grow. As educators, we mold the future citizens. As a teaching profession, we impact knowledge. We impart knowledge to the students, and at the end, they are something after they finish their studies. Oh yes. Thank you indeed. It's wonderful to have these personal reflections to begin with. You will all have, yes, as teachers, you're contributing in building of nation. This can run into number of pages, and it's the most important part of, in fact, the exercise that you're doing now. Now come back from an individual level to an organizational level, or the school level, or your educational institution level. What has been the purpose of your school or your educational institute or your college? That's the second question. The first two questions relating to our individual experience in the profession. The second is more to do with understanding the purpose of my organization where I'm working. It's a school or an educational institute. Can you enlarge the slide?
It's already enlarged, sir. It's already full screen.
Okay, that's the max.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we are getting this point that we can share to make students better citizens. The purpose of school or our educational institution. The purpose is to give them a platform to grow and give them the placement after they finish their graduation. I missed it due to network problems. All right. Make presentation. Okay, these are some other comments that are coming in between. Yeah, to serve the society and improve quality of life by imparting high quality education. To serve the society and improve the quality of life by imparting high quality education. Yeah, that's from Sunny Seth. We are now looking at what is the purpose of my school or purpose of my educational institute or my college or whichever place you're working. Dr. Mishra, Seetal is suggesting press F5 so that the whole PPT.
The computer screen where I am sharing, I have already pressed the F5 and I can see the full PPT, but I don't know why there is some problem with it's not. Let me try it out again. Let me try out again from.
All right. So to cater to all-round development of the children, to facilitate the process of holistic learning, to cater to Purnima, you wanted to say that? Anything?
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yes, Sujata. Please go ahead.
Sir, it is actually not audible at all. It is echoing.
Okay.
Not at all. And voice is also very low, sir.
Voice is also low. Let's see.
I can hear your voice pretty clear, sir. If other participants do have that problem, voice is audible. Some of the participants might be problem with their participant side. Your voice is pretty clear.
Can you hear me better?
You are always clear, sir.
All right. You have to mute Dr. Mishra and get to us to one slide on the questions that we had. Slide number 4. Now look at something this. I'm sure all of us have gone through this before. This beautiful poem of Tagore. Do you remember this poem of Tagore? Anyone remembers the poem of Tagore? It's interesting for us as teachers to always reflect on some of our, good teachers or great teachers of the past. Let's move forward to Tagore's point. Yeah. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. It's both a prayer and a poem. It's wonderful, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, it's wonderful. Let's move to the next slide to highlight some important points there. Look here. No. Go back, please. Yeah. See here, mind without fear, knowledge being free, a world not broken up into fragments, words that comes from the depth of truth, to have a clear stream of reason and not be lost in dead habit, and to have this ever-widening thought and most importantly action, ever-widening thought and action, and to experience the heaven of freedom. Does that not reflect the desires, the passion, the nobility of education? Yes, Meenakshi, you've given some form there. Okay, that's for attendance. All right. Now, if this were your dream, do you feel this is a kind of common theme that all of us as teachers, professors have? If that were the case, the same must get reflected in a school or an educational institution. Now, this is your broad context in which you are looking at strategy. Let's go back. This is when I'll now explain. Thank you, Aramgam. Let's go back and look at the fundamentals of strategy. And if this being the background, we'll try to see how to apply this issue into strategizing. Let's go back. Dr. Mishra. Yeah, back. We can stop here for a moment. Broadly, if you say strategizing involves a few things. It involves orienting to the vision, mission, values of an organization, which you initially wrote. What is strategy? When we discussed or when we raised that point, many of you did mention these words in different ways. So orienting oneself to the vision, mission, values of the organization. The second part is, which some of you did miss or maybe couldn't put it together, is the second part is analyzing the internal capabilities and external needs and challenges of your stakeholders, of you. Mostly first, the internal capabilities of you and your organization, your school or educational institution. So analyzing the internal capabilities and the needs and challenges. Second part, The third part is about organizing the various functional capabilities. Organizing includes balancing, collaborating, synergizing the various functional capabilities towards achieving the goals or the purpose of the organization. Right? Yes, Neha, I do see your note now. This is a prayer to God by Tagore when he asked God to awaken India into the heaven of freedom, where there is total freedom of good thoughts, good words, and good actions. It's nice for us to reflect on this as teachers once in a while. That sets our context to looking at what we should do. Let's go back. So this is broadly at the sum and substance of strategizing is what I can think for you. Go back. No, back, please. Yes. Now this is, if that statement was kind of too lengthy, too broad, this gives you a graphical idea of what strategy includes or strategizing includes. Of course, this is just one set. I will also subsequently ask you some questions based on this. This is general understanding of strategy formulation. This is the general understanding of strategy formulation. So you look at your goals. That's what many of you mentioned initially, that it is about achieving goals. It is about looking at the purpose, which may be values, which includes values, vision, and mission. And it includes your internal context, which we just defined there. Internal context would include your strengths and weaknesses, and external context would include your needs and challenges. Any of you remember the idea of SWOT? Some of you have already studied SWOT.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So how is this different from SWOT? Or
In SWOT, basically for a particular issue, we try to figure out our strengths, weaknesses, and then we try to look for the various available opportunities, and then what are the threats to that particular opportunity in
wonderful,
future.
Annie. Wonderful. So here there is no OT. Opportunities and threats are not mentioned. Instead, needs and challenges are mentioned. Now, for your organization as a school or an educational institution, how do you actually look? Should you put, is that opportunities and threats is the basis on which you should be looking at? Or you should be looking at the needs and challenges of the society, of your students, of your stakeholders? How should you look at? This is a slight variation to the standard understanding of strategy. So for those of you who are already aware of SWOT, which is typically used in business organization, will that framework work for your setting, or you need to kind of modulate that? Yes, Sunny, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, need to kind of modulate that, but still, to some extent, we keep the opportunity and threat in mind a little bit, not
Yes. Should that predominate?
No.
Opportunities and threat in your kind of context?
They do not dominate at all, but we keep them in mind while taking the decisions and strategizing the things for future.
Now, when you take, this is very important for those who are new to the subject, don't worry at all, but you're saying, should we use the external context? One is the internal context, what is there in our school? What are our strengths? What are our areas of improvement? That's one aspect of it. When you strategize, you need to assess that first. Second part is to look at the externality. So the externality would provide opportunities or pose some threats. That's the standard business method. When it comes to school as a system of activity or an engagement or a social service, as all schools are registered as societies, not as for-profit companies. Is that so? schools are registered as for-profit companies or societies?
Yes, societies basically.
Societies basically, right? They're not registered as for-profit enterprises. So the SWOT analysis has been developed for for-profit enterprises. Now, in the context of school, which is a society, which has these noble thoughts, one of the reference point I shared with you is the prayer of Tagore, the poem of Tagore, which kind of symbolizes what education should be. That's your context. That's the context in which the school exists. The context in which we as teachers, professors, enjoy our profession. Right? Now, in that context, therefore, when you strategize, do you follow a normal business model approach for strategizing, or should you contextualize to your foundations? Right? This is a question for you to reflect on. And therefore, yeah, please go ahead.
We contextualize as per our model.
As per our context, right? As per our objectives, our values, our mission, our vision.
Yes, sir.
So this is where the mistake should not be made when you're strategizing. Do not pick up a formula from the textbooks of business management and apply it to your situation wherever you are. Take the framework, but apply it to your context. The context also includes your values, your mission, your vision, and of course, there's always this hidden element called intent. What is the real intent? I am registered as a society, but my intent is to make profit. Then obviously your strategizing would become different. What do you think, Purnima? Koeli?
Sir, please repeat the question.
Now there is a little word there, intent. It is hiding in a light color.
Yeah.
The intent also shapes my strategy or strategizing.
Okay.
Right? So if my intent, although as a school I'm registered as a society, but my intent is to make money as the owner of the school,
yes,
then would the strategy become different?
But that is a very low level.
That is at a, yes.
And the broader aspect should be the mission and vision.
Broader aspect should be the vision and mission.
For strategizing.
Yes, absolutely. Vision and mission is
intent,
the right.
Should be there, somewhere buried. A desire.
Yeah. Intent is not written down. Vision and mission are written down.
Yes, and that is not to be shown, as you said, ki business is there. Business purpose is also there in school.
So now you can see why there is contradiction in your Tagore's poem of prayer, which all of us value.
Contradiction, yeah.
And our strategy or our actions or our plans, our activities sometimes do not match up.
Yes, sir.
Right? You also said, what is the purpose of the school? To build the nation. Why do you teachers? What's your purpose? To build citizens, to build beautiful people. But when it comes to our strategies, we probably do not follow the basic framework of strategizing. But it is not only looking at opportunities in the market or threats in the market, and then trying to do something so that you can make something out of it, but also to stand by our declared purpose, our openly declared purpose. And this intent should not be something different from the purpose that we have declared. When an organization makes mistakes on this, the organization falls down. Organization in due course of time will fall down. Any reflections on this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So definitely nowadays education has also become a business, but looking only at the monetary part should not be there. We should not compromise with the values. Obviously, the intent will be there in the strategizing part, but values should not be compromised for that.
So that's something very fundamental to strategizing. So if you keep that aside, all the vision, mission, values is in the wall, and you do activities which are not connected to that, then you know the outcome. You're not enjoying your work. You're not feeling great about what, and when you don't feel great, the school doesn't do well. When the teachers don't feel great about, they're not passionate about what they're doing, the school will not do well because it will get reflected in the classroom. And that will go into the children. And then parents will see it. And over time you'll see, okay, what are we doing? So the framework of strategizing is very simple. Okay, there are values or there are broad objectives or purpose of the organization. You have some strengths, you have some areas of improvement, of course, that's fine. And you also have this externality, what is the demand in the market, you can see that. And you know goals, okay, goals, we want students to do well in marks, okay, one. But when it comes to Tagore's poem on prayer, there is no idea of marks there. When you said why teaching is considered as a noble profession, no one said high marks for students. Marks is a necessary component, but it's not the all of it. Marks have become an important element. Marks students will get. That's, I think, a very simple task. They're taught systematically, properly, they'll get marks.
It should not be the ultimate purpose.
That is not the ultimate purpose.
Yes, sir. It's not the absolute one.
Yeah, that's become important for us today because of the, again, a very, very interesting transition that has happened. Like in competitive politics, schools have also entered competitive business. You have gone into competition. So the idea of that external context in a competitive market space, we typically use the terms of understanding opportunities and threats. Whereas when you are looking at your ideals of education and school and teaching, it is not a competitive space. It is a space of cooperation. It's a space for cooperation. So which is when you say you want to build a nation, you want to build character, you want to build citizen, you say, okay, what are the needs of our present times? What are the challenges? Instead of saying what are the threats, we say what are the challenges? If these are the needs, it's not being fulfilled because of certain challenges. So how do we prepare the next generation to overcome those challenges? That will take you to be getting closer to the idea of Tagore. And that's when you really become a guru. So if you simply take the models of business, I'm a professor of strategy. I've been in this domain for almost 30 years now. But I do see that the model that is applicable to competitive market space is not applicable to schools. Everything else, almost 80% is there, but the other 20% is off the track. It is not about opportunities and threats. It is not about hiding the intent. It's about connecting the intent to the declared purpose and standing by the values that we have declared for ourselves. These are very important issues when you're building a nation, when you're building the character, when you're building your citizens. And that's
Sir, I want to intervene.
Yeah, please.
If I'm not creating a disturbance, I just want to say a point that the ecosystem is like that. The authorities and the regulatory bodies also, they harp on these issues with goals in terms of marks or in terms of toppers. So all are in way that forced to do this kind of thing, or they assume that this is their role only. So that is quite misleading to that. Even the national bodies, all this, they are also give funding on the basis of these things only, or you get support on or recognition also. It's right that that is not the objective, but these frameworks mislead people.
Yes. Now it's a choice for us. It's a choice for each school. It's a choice for a group of teachers. There are different types of schools, therefore. You have schools, and then you can compare the schools and education across the world. What is the kind of education system in, let's say, Finland, in Denmark, in Europe, in international schools, in private schools, in government schools, and what do we want to do? Where do we want to? For instance, some of you would have known about schools like, let's say, Ramakrishna Mission schools. Any of you from that kind of experience, Ramakrishna Mission? No one there? Now, this is where a question like, okay, there is a huge demand for your brand, and the school can make a lot of money by expanding because it has a brand. And the school may decide, no, we are not interested in numbers, but we are interested in quality. And then accordingly, that's strategizing. What do you want to have your strategy as? Because you have a brand, you want to expand. Because this year, for instance, you say the topper of the state was from our school, and therefore now we have a brand, and let's expand because more children will get admitted to my school. That's one approach. The other is, well, we need to keep our quality. If we expand, maybe we don't have the resources, the expertise to expand in the same quality. So these are strategic decisions. These are called part of strategizing. Some idea about strategizing, how to be responsible in strategizing. Otherwise, the framework is very simple, as I said. Let's move forward. These slides.
So in this dimension, I again want to ask one thing. How much freedom one individual or an organization has to set his goals or objectives independent of the environment?
Yes. So, yes,
Have we have to take consideration of the environment or the what
Okay.
is going on in the everybody is doing like that, or we can be diametrically to our own wish or our own choice, or we can say the thing. Well, it's good if we can say I appreciate those things, but then
Yeah.
it becomes a question of my extinction also or survival also.
Yeah. Now think of the kind of schools when Tagore started his Sriniketan. What was the context in which he built his school? The context is always historically. Maybe I think others can respond to this question that what Mr. Vikas Kumar has just said, that the ecosystem is operating in a particular way, and how much of freedom or leeway do I have to be different from the ecosystem that is existing? Well, in our context now, we are seeing that the ecosystem is very competitive. They are operating like business. They are only saying that we need whatever it may. You do something, make something with the students so that you get high scores for the students. if this is the background, how much of freedom do I have to have or do things differently, because I also need to survive. That is what Mr. Vikas Kumar just mentioned. Any reflections to this that you can write on the chat box, or you can even speak up. On the slides, can we move forward? Further? Go further. Yeah. Yes, please. Please be there. Please go ahead. Someone wanted to speak. So if we were to kind of let me put the perspective of getting the basic aspect of strategy is very simple. Now we have come into, let's go forward, see the frameworks once for the last time, and then come back to, okay, when we say strategizing in the context of organization, we are talking about the context in terms of a broad context, which is the value, vision, mission, and this is in sync with intent, or the intent is in sync with the declared values, vision, and mission. That's one part of the context. The second part of the context is the internal context, which is what the school has, or what we as individuals, as a group, we have. What are our strengths? Maybe our teachers in physics are very good. Maybe our teachers in language not very good. So let's get some good teachers in language. So that can be one way of seeing. Or we have very good buildings, but the toilets are not so great. So we'll try to fix that. So that's, you can analyze your physical and functional context of the organization or the school. The second part is, okay, we are in a noble profession. We have certain expectations. So we need to look at the needs of the society, and also look at the challenges of the society and how we can incorporate those into our curriculum. How we can bring those aspects into our school, so that our children who come out from the school have, they become, they fulfill the dreams or the vision that we have. And that's where you say, okay, vision is very broad, large, long-term, but goals are specific. So this year, we're going to make some improvements on this. At least from 85%, we'll go up to 95%, let's say, on this course. In terms of quality, in terms of value, in terms of exposure, in terms of orientation, we want the students to at least improve in some of these aspects which we had not been so good at. So you have specific goals. Marks is one of the goals. There are other goals to also be fixed, and it need not be for a long period, but goals are specific to a year. For next year, these are our goals. For next 2 years, these are our goals. For the next 3 years, these are our goals. So like that. And then you say, okay, what are the indicators through which we will measure our goals? Those are, okay, again comes, okay, in science stream, we will try to do this. In humanities, we'll try to do this. In mathematics or arts or any other subject, we'll do like this. On value aspects, we'll try to do this. On sports, we are trying to do this. On other extracurriculars, we'll try to do this. So these indicators are not narrowed down to just a set of few indicators, but a broader indicator. Because if you say that your objective is to build a nation, if your objective is to build good people for the society, then your goals have to be accordingly decided. Your indicators have to be accordingly decided. But if you say our goal and indicator is only we should get more students to get over 95%, 98%, then that is a limited goal. It is left to you. As a strategizer, it is left to you. How do you want to strategize? It is not that no one can compel you and force you to say that no, you have to have all these indicators. No, it is your choice. But the basic strategy or basic framework of strategizing includes all this. And if they are not coherent, if your values, mission, goals, context are not synchronized, then that organization will not last for long. Then that organization will not last for long. That's the key point of what involves strategizing. Next, let's go to the next slide. Can you open the first one, the first link on intent? This is one small newspaper article. You can see here, in fact, in strategy, intent is actually the lodestone. It's usually not written down, but that is how you assess the leader. What is the intent of this action? You can assess a leader by knowing or trying to understand the intent. And intent is not mentioned, it's not recorded. But it would be wise, of course, this is written in a particular context, but intent is the key word or key issue that you should look for when you're looking at a leader. And leaders are typically involved in strategizing. You can look at this later. We'll move ahead. Go back from this. Yeah, move out from here. And then there's another link that you can please click. The second one. Now for each of your schools, just a second. For each of your schools, you will have your vision and mission. It's important to visit those once in a while, at least once in a year or twice in a year, or at least during, say, Independence Day or Republic Day. These are important days, or School Foundation Day, to always to go back and visit this vision and mission. Now let's look at one example I've drawn. That is my own university. Let's see, click that. Okay, please come down. A little down. Yeah. So there you go further down. Yeah. All right. Whatever is the university, but look here. The front page. Go up. Go down a little more. Down. We want to see the values and vision. Look here. Whatever may be the school or college or university, there are certain values. There is a vision. And actually, the symbol actually shows all the mission. Well, each school or college or university will have their own way of presenting. But you can see here clearly, would you disagree with any of the values mentioned here? Integrity, excellence, inclusiveness, compassion, and sustainability. Very interestingly, these, in our case, of course, I'm part of this university. And for arriving at these 5 values, we must have spent nearly 2 months or 3 months. And across alumni, current students, faculty, staff, international partners, corporate, alumni, corporate leaders, a variety of stakeholders were kind of brought in to discuss, engage, and then find out what should be our values. Now, very interestingly, you will not find any difference in the values of a society like this university or the values of a school to values of a business organization. The values don't really differ much. The visions are different and the missions are different. Visions also, they will kind of match. Broadly, they will match. But it's in the mission that you really have the challenge in, and the hidden intent is somewhere you make mistakes. Let's close this as well. And go to that page, please. Yes, let's look at one of the vision, mission, culture, values of one of the companies. Go to the next link. Yeah. Look here. Mission. This is for Tata Motors. Mission, vision, and values. There's a mission, there's a vision, and look at the values. Go down. Look at the values. Integrity appeared first in university. In the previous example that you saw, integrity is also the first aspect in Tata Steel, and you can see, so this is where the values is what defines you. How you want, what are your values? That is what will bind you together as an organization, your school, your alumni, whatever you said, why teaching is a noble profession, and teachers are honored and respected, and particularly teachers from school are most remembered. Need to remember what is fundamental to our organization. And if you are sticking to the fundamentals, this is where the choices come. This is where, when I forgot the name, Mr. Kumar was saying in the context, we can go back from here. When Mr. Kumar was saying that in the given ecosystem that we are in, let's move forward. In the ecosystem that we are in, go to the next slide. In the ecosystem that we are in, how do we strategize? It's your choice. I can only tell you the framework. I can only tell you what are fundamental. I can only draw on the context, historical context, and the things that we stand for as educators. And in that context, and that's also our context. In other words, context also includes our assumptions. Context also includes our assumptions, our thinking, our framework, our foresight. Context doesn't include only some material aspects. It also includes our perspective. Those are all part of the context. Strategizing is always to a context. So here you can say, well, it includes, once again, I can say, strategizing is about orienting. It's about analyzing. It's about organizing to achieve something. Orienting to the vision, mission, values of your organization. Analyzing your capabilities, analyzing what is expected of you in terms of needs and challenges of the society. And of course, as Mr. Kumar and some of you mentioned, the forces, the competitive forces also have to be seen, because others are also doing something which is not in line with the purpose of an educational institution. In that context, there are forces, opposing forces or negative forces. So you can see them as forces and beat them with another force, or you can treat them as challenges and deal with them in a different way. Then organizing. What do you organize? Organizing is about balancing. Profits are required. Quality is required. How do you balance? Should you compete or should you collaborate? Organizing for you, should it be competition as others are doing, let us also do this, or we can also collaborate with other schools? How do we synergize and bring in a more holistic way of organizing? Also organizing the various functional capabilities. I have a good teacher in my school. Can he also go and offer, or can she go and offer it in other school? We have no teachers and no capabilities on values, on principles, or rather say the basic, a very good expert in, let's say, sustainability or in ecological and environmental issues, which is, as you know, that, as per the Supreme Court order, every school is supposed to give a course on environmental studies. Is that so?
Yes.
But how many of us do offer?
As we do here. I don't know about others.
Which school are you from?
I am from a university. We run graduate, undergraduate programs.
Okay.
So it is a compulsory course in PG also, UG also, environmental studies.
Yes.
We have BTech programs, MBA programs. I'm from University of Petroleum and Energy Studies. There are, but I have some experience from some other colleges also. They have such subject there, but I cannot say it is everywhere. That I can't say.
Yes, most schools will not have this. Particularly, this is, of course, if you now go back to Tagore and his prayer, he actually started, his first work was on farming systems. So he was actually, he's a natural philosopher. He's a naturalist. So a lot of values that we have understood over time is, if you study the subject well, we'll find that it is all drawn from the nature. And some of the best teachers, best innovators are best observers of the nature. And therefore, this idea of environmental studies to be part of every education system, as per Supreme Court, has value. Why is it necessary to have certain of these understanding? So given those, for instance, I was saying, if you have this, someone else has this capability, can we share this? Can we exchange? So that's about collaborating. So you don't have to compete always and for everything. There is a need to compete on the sports ground. Yes, we will compete, but not at very higher level. So those are, of course, another set of subjects to understand the science of competition and science of cooperation. But the world of cooperation is what defines education system or a society. So having got this broad sense of how things work, what influence, the idea of strategizing does come in, and it can then become effective. Effective decision making is when you have understood your context well. And strategizing is also in that context, becomes meaningful when you understand the context well. And accordingly, you, of course, you have certain short-term, medium-term goals that lead to long-term purpose. So they need to be, again, in sync with each other. Otherwise, there will be no proper flow. Can we move forward on the slides? Okay, further, you've gone back. Okay, further. Next. Yeah, go back. Go back. So now you can see this. So given all this background, what would you take as the building blocks and processes to strategize for your school? That's the exercise you have. What would you take as the building blocks and processes to strategize for your school? We'll spend the next 5 minutes on that. We can close this slide and we can see each other. You can also use the chat box to give your responses. What would be your building blocks and processes to strategize for your school? It's completely your choice. You know the framework, but now it's your choice to build strategy or strategize for your school or for your college or your educational institution. We can also take questions at this stage. You can write your comments on the chat box. You can speak
As
up.
a building block, can I say good students?
Yes,
Can
students are also
like,
building blocks.
filtering, while taking admissions, we can filter through an entrance exams. Whoever the good students, that is the strategy. Whether he is having paying capability or not, but we are looking. That's my strategy actually.
Yeah, that's your strategy.
Only taking the students, good quality students. Okay. Later on, we can decide whether he can pay or he cannot pay, because that intent is also there in my mind.
Yes. Now you know what factors should be influencing you or should be taken into consideration when you are strategizing.
Yes.
The choice is all yours. No one can force you. If you have a bad intent of doing something else, no one can stop you. But you know the consequences. Don't feel bad later on that I did this strategy like this, and I have caught up later on this.
The financial loss, okay.
So strategizing framework gives you a perspective as to if this is what is a good set of things to look at when I want to strategize. Now it's your choice. You know, one side, if I say I really like the poem of Tagore, but on the other side, if I do something which is not in sync with those, then it doesn't work out.
Yes.
So if teachers are not respected today, don't blame the students. We have transformed ourselves, right?
That is how the strategies were made.
Yes. So we are responsible.
Okay.
The students don't want to sit in the class, then we are doing something which is the reason for which they don't like. So let us not kind of blame XYZ factors. Let us look at the whole set of factors to be able to understand what is happening to us. Right. So that's good. Coily, you're kind of enjoying this discussion, but yeah, we'd like to hear from others as well. Dr. Mishra, please tell us when we should stop.
Sir, you can continue for another 4 to 5 minutes without any issue.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, Vikas writes there, identifying students from underprivileged sections not covered in any state government scheme and working on with them. Wonderful. You know? So while Coily says, okay, I will pick up the best of students, another school may decide to do this or may have a particular focus on this set of students. Because a great teacher is not someone who works with the best students and good outputs. A great teacher is someone who works on the weakest and produces the best out of them. So that's another perspective. Coily, are you also getting this point from?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's your choice, your priorities, what you want to do. It's all about what you want to do. It's left to you. So it is not one solution. It can be multiple solutions, multiple ways of doing things. But it all depends on your values, your vision, your mission. Those are the guiding points. Those are the anchors for you. Have a clear set of objectives. Yes, clear set of objectives. Make it clear. What are those objectives? It need not be one category of objective. And Sunita, yes, she agrees to some points we just discussed. Stress on quality rather than on quantity. Yes, it's okay. Aramgam, am I right? Or Sirish? It's a wonderful session. We learned a lot. And,
yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, you want to say something?
No, sir. I shared in the chat box, sir.
Yes.
So my thoughts I have shared in the chat box.
This is all your choice. We just got the building blocks to look at. Now, how you want to structure yourself, and you will also know if I do it this way, I'll get this output. If I do it this another way, I'll get this output. And I should be ready to accept. And don't say that, we had this, but we got this. I want to get this, but it's not in sync. Yes, Vikas again writes process. In order to survive in existing ecosystems simultaneously, would try to formulate a model of cross-subsidy to keep my system. So that's another strategy. This is a plain strategy. So I have a goal, I have an intent, I have something noble, but the ecosystem is something else. So how do I find a transition strategy? This is what you can say, how do I have a mix of two? Right? I think you're all getting charged up now. It's good, but I would suggest, in fact, we did a study on behalf of Sainik School a few years ago to understand why this school with such a brand has gradually come down or not done so well as it used to do before. And one of the things that we found is that we looked at not only that school, but we compared with other schools in the state, and we found there are certain very interesting observations. And one of the key findings is that the student learning and students' development is a function of the interaction intensity. Interaction intensity of the school or teachers with the students. So when the interaction intensity has come down over years between the students and the teachers, the learning, the overall has come down for the school. And that's what we did use for other schools around, and we found there are still certain strengths in the school. The value system of the school, like Sainik School, was far ahead of many of the private schools, the best performing schools in the state. So when these guys get out, they will last. When these students from good schools get out, they will shine in the beginning, but they may not last. But the guys who have fundamentals in the children who have fundamentals will thrive in the open world. And they do so those examples. Yeah, pardon me? Yeah, that's about, there are a lot of comments there. Thank you for all your thoughts and sharing. So one of the things that I would remind or rather suggest or rather pray is that please bring in that or look at the Supreme Court ruling on environment and ecology and see if you can incorporate them into your schooling systems and universities, because the world is breaking down and the ones who can fix it are the schools. It has to start from school. It has to be built up in colleges and universities. Otherwise, we have this beautiful planet which will vanish in 50 years' time or so. And no one, if the society is failing, no one is to be blamed more than the teachers themselves. I take that blame onto myself first because I am responsible to build. And if the society is failing, we as a collective, as teachers, are responsible first. So our strategizing has to work towards building a great sustainable society. Thank you all. Over to you, Dr. Mishra.
Over to you, Dr. Mishra. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for such a nice and thought-provoking session. And I was here all the time and I enjoyed your session thoroughly. And I would definitely like to use some of the suggestions that you have made in this with this session. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, if you could please, I've sent a WhatsApp message to you. If you can kindly respond to that, it will be
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Dear participants, please log out of this session and you may join again from the next link, which I have already shared with you after 15 minutes. Please take a break, quick break of tea or coffee break of 15 minutes and we can join after that.
The attendance link is not accepting the responses.
Attendance link will not accept after the time that I told you, that say I have been telling you again and again that it has been set from 11 to 12:15. So after that, the admin, my college, I don't do all those things. The college admin, they manage it and they have set the time like that, madam. I cannot help it. Please understand that, because so after 12:15 it must have stopped automatically. Okay. So please give your attendance link because the attendance link was shared by me 3-4 times and some other participants like Dr. Amit Sinha and Vallabhan and Silpa, they also shared it. Rinku Agarwal also shared it. They are helping my admin. So it has been shared for at least 6-7 times in today's session. So please manage that. Okay. Thank you.